Greetings to everyone. I am Dr. Jobin Jacob from Aluva Ayurveda Hospital. Today, I am going to discuss the topic of allergy. We all know what an allergy is. If you look at the reason, allergy is a problem that a good percentage of people face in almost every household. Allergy causes different kinds of difficulties for different people. Some people get sneezing, some get sinusitis, and for others it might be itching in the eyes or ears. Some people get tonsillitis while others experience breathlessness. So for each person, allergy problems show up in different ways. Some people have food allergies, some are allergic to pollen, and for others it's dust. In this way, we can see that allergies affect different people in different ways. If we look at the treatment for this now, we mostly see people who are taking medicines daily. There is no permanent solution for this. What we usually see is people having to take medicines every day. But actually what we need to think about is what exactly is an allergy. Once we understand that, the treatment method becomes much easier for us. So if we ask what exactly is an allergy, to put it simply, it is because the allergic factor in our blood is high that all these things become allergens and cause allergies for us. For example, dust or pollen, when we say these cause allergies, it is only for a particular group of people that these things actually trigger allergies. For others, there is absolutely no problem. What we need to understand from this is, if you ask why dust causes an allergy for that person, it is because the allergic factor in that person's body is high, and that's why their body reacts to it. So if you want to know what exactly it is, we can check our blood and find out how much of the allergic factor is present in our body. If we do tests like IgE and absolute eosinophil count, we'll be able to know how much allergy is there in our body. So if you ask what happens when this allergic factor remains high in our body, we have the adenoid gland in our nose, the tonsil gland in our throat, and also our skin. All three of these become hyperactive or oversensitive. So what happens is, even if a little dust, wind, smell or cold comes near, since these glands have become hypersensitive, they will react or respond immediately. How do they respond? They get infected and swell up. The adenoid gland is something we cannot see directly. Our adenoid gland is located inside our forehead, but its turbinate is present here in the nasal cavity of the nose. What does this do? It gets infected and swells up. So the passage in our nose becomes narrow, or we won't get free airflow through the nose. And if we are in our hometown, there is always either dust, wind, smell or cold. At least one of these is present 24 hours a day in our place. So for 24 hours, this gland remains hyperactive, gets infected and keeps swelling up. That's why we don't get free airflow through the nose. And for these allergic patients, since this is how it is for them for 365 days, they get used to it. So they don't get free airflow through their nose. So what do? They use extra energy and breathe harder to move forward. But when they lie down at night, they don't bother to use extra energy like that. They just keep their mouth open and breathe through the mouth easily. Because of breathing through the mouth like this, there is only the possibility that their teeth may protrude outwards and gaps may form between the teeth. But what happens because of this is, the passage from here to here in our nose, what we call this channel, will remain as a free space. There is not passing through it, right? So humidity or sweat particles will come and fill this space. According to our brain's concept, this channel in the nose is a place where air should always pass through and it should always remain dry. But when these people wake up after sleeping, this entire channel will be wet, yaar. The humidity will have made it damp and moist. So the brain will give a command to make it dry. That's why sneezing happens. That's why some people sneeze continuously, even up to 10 times after waking up from sleep. It's not necessary that everyone should sneeze. These symptoms will vary from person to person depending on their body constitution. For some people, sneezing happens because their nose is blocked or because their nose is wet. For others, it happens due to sinusitis, but for another group, it could be migraine or headache. For some, it can cause itching in the eyes or ears. For some people, it could cause throat irritation, cough or phlegm congestion. For some, it might be tonsillitis, and for others, it could be breathlessness. Some people may experience all of these together. It depends. The symptoms will keep changing according to each person's body nature. But if you ask what is the root cause behind all these problems, it is nasal blockage. So if you ask what is the solution for all these problems, the only answer is to prevent nasal blockage. That is the only solution. In allopathy treatment methods, the solution for this is a surgical procedure. They'll do surgery and call it nasal adenoid hypertrophy. For this, they perform surgery, and that is surgical removal. They will do surgery and remove it. Theoretically, that's fine because our obstruction was here. They remove that obstruction through surgery, so our breathing becomes free, the obstruction is gone, and if we had any of the problems mentioned in the list, those problems will also go away. But unfortunately, after 3 or 4 months, even after doing the surgery, it starts bulging and coming back again. When it starts bulging again, our nose gets blocked once more and we become sick just like before. So that's the thing. This recurring nature is considered a drawback of this. Otherwise, just one surgery would have been enough to cure all the allergies in our place. But the drawback is that even after surgery, it keeps coming back again and again. In my practical experience, I have seen patients who have had repeat surgeries 5, 7, even 8 times. So what that means is, even after surgery, this problem keeps reoccurring. But if we look at what we do in Ayurveda, for this bulging gland called adenoid hypertrophy, we apply a medicine directly to it. In Ayurveda, this is called Ksharakram. When this medicine is applied, the hypersensitivity of that bulging gland will completely go away. The gland will still be there, but even if dust, wind or smells come in contact, it will not swell up again or become hypersensitive. When that doesn't happen, there won't be any nasal blockage, and as long as the nose doesn't get blocked, all these problems mentioned earlier won't occur in the future. This is said to be the only solution for this. Once we do this, there are no chances of it bulging up again for a second time or recurring. That is why this is a method which can be considered as a very successful and usable option for us. If you have an allergy, definitely this is something that can be corrected by doing this rather than going for surgery. By doing this, we can permanently change the blockage in the nose. If the nose is not blocked like this, then the list of problems I mentioned earlier will also not occur for you. So this is said to be the main reason for allergy. Many people have been seen taking medicines for this. Whether it is in allopathy, Ayurveda or homeopathy, wherever it is, this is a structural problem. The problem here, the reason for this, is that when the allergy factor in the blood remains high, their adenoid gland stays bulged, and because of this, there is obstruction in the nose. This is said to be the reason. So this is not something that can be changed just by taking medicines. It is said that the only solution for this is either a surgical procedure or removal of it. That is why in Ayurveda, we remove it using a procedure called Kshar Karma. This is the only solution for it. Or you can say this is the permanent solution for it. Once this is done, there won't be any more trouble afterwards. Secondly, there's another reason, which is what is called Thalani-rakkam. All of us are quite familiar with what is called Thalani-rakkam. If you were to ask me what Thalani-rakkam is, I have seen on many channels that quite a few people often claim there is no such thing and that there is actually nothing called Thalani-rakkam. I heard on another channel that when you pour water on your head, all that water goes down into the brain, and that is what is called Thalani-rakkam. They say it will come out through the nose, through the ears and so on. They say there's nothing like that. But in reality, no one actually knows today what the real truth is. The truth is, even those who are talking about it do not know what exactly Thalani-rakkam is. So if you ask what Thalani-rakkam is, one thing we need to know is that if you look at any allergy sufferers, they will be of two types. One group is those who sweat quickly, have a hot body nature, and whose body constitution tends to sweat easily. But there is another group of people, and those people have a cool body nature. That means their nature is such that they don't sweat much. These are the two types of people who are considered to have allergies. We can identify their body constitution just by looking at them. Their body will either sweat quickly and have a hot nature, or it will not sweat and have a cold nature. Both these groups are problematic. The reason is a normal person's body should be able to balance the atmospheric temperature and the body temperature. But people with allergies can never balance this. For them, either the body will be too hot or too cold. So what happens is there'll be an imbalance between the atmospheric temperature and the body temperature. If you ask how we can know about this temperature imbalance, we can feel this difference when we climb up a hill or when we fly. When a person goes to a higher altitude, there'll be a change in temperature and automatically there'll be a change in pressure as well. For example, a pressure imbalance will occur. If you ask how we can know about this pressure imbalance, as we go to higher altitudes, there'll be a change in temperature and automatically a change in pressure. That is, since temperature and pressure are in direct proportion, there'll automatically be a pressure variation. When this pressure variation happens, our ears will let us know. There'll be various disturbances in the ear like itching, ringing, sounds, blockage, popping or crackling. That is not actually a disease of the ear. The ear is just doing its duty. It is letting us know that we are in a state of pressure variation. That's why when someone experiences a disturbance in their ear while going up a hill, nobody goes to see an ENT doctor. Because everyone knows that when you go up a hill, your ears will get disturbed. So once you understand why it happens, you'll realize that it's just your ear letting you know. So it's not a disease of the ear. The ear is just doing its duty, letting us know that we are in a situation of pressure difference. So the same changes that happen in a normal person's body when they climb up a hill, those very phenomena happen in the body of a person with allergies when they are just standing in a normal place at ground level in their hometown. So naturally that person might experience itching in the ear, a blocked feeling, sounds, pressure, popping, crackling, sneezing, various kinds of disturbances like these. That is not a disease of the ear. The ear is just doing its duty. So even if we go to an ENT specialist and take medicines for a lifetime, it won't change because the ear has to do its duty. Now if you were to ask me what the actual solution for this is, definitely the one and only effective solution is to bring our body temperature back into its natural balance. So as we said, the reason for the drainage of our head fluid is the pressure difference caused by temperature variation. So if you ask what happens because of this, we can definitely say that water absorption will occur from high pressure to low pressure through diffusion. That means whether it's the water we bathe with or the sweat on our skin, whatever water touches our skin will absorb it. That is what is called head fluid drainage. That is why people who have head fluid drainage or even those who have allergies will immediately notice the effects if they are exposed to sunlight, get wet in the rain or bathe at odd times. That is what is called head fluid drainage. Normally, if an ordinary person is exposed to sunlight, gets wet in the rain or bathes at odd times, nothing will happen. But if people with allergies do any of these things, they will immediately notice the effects. This is what is called head fluid drainage. So if you want to get rid of head fluid drainage, the only option is to bring your body temperature back to balance. Unfortunately, that won't happen because the physical nature of your body is something you inherit right from birth. For example, whether you are someone who sweats very easily or someone who doesn't sweat much at all, whatever it is, you don't suddenly get it one fine morning. Instead, it's a biological gift that you inherit directly from your parents by birth. Since you get it by birth, it will remain the same until your death. Now, this won't stay with you. You will transfer it to the next generation. So, to put it simply, you got this from your parents and you will pass it on to your next generation. This is a gift that is passed down from generation to generation like this. If you ask how this can be changed, since it is something you get by birth, just like your body temperature, it is by nature and no one can change it. So if you ask whether the cerebrospinal fluid will change, it won't. You will have cerebrospinal fluid until your death. So if you ask what can be done about this, there are two options in front of us. One option is to go and live in a place where you don't sweat. For example, if you or any of your friends who have allergies, or if you yourself have issues like sneezing, sinusitis, migraine, breathlessness or phlegm congestion, and if such people go to countries like Dubai or the Gulf or places like America or Europe, by the time you land there, your nose will be completely clear. Then you won't need any medicine, nothing else is required. Your nose won't be blocked, no sneezing, no sinus, no migraine, no breathlessness. You'll be able to go ahead without any problems at all. But no matter how many years you live there, the moment you set foot in our airport again, this problem will restart for you. Many who have experienced this must be listening to me now. You will understand this. That means in this country you are a patient, but once you leave this country, you're not a patient. It's not possible in every country. In a country where you don't sweat, you're fit. So, one option or solution for this is to go and live in a country where you feel comfortable. Now, if you have to live in this country itself, then the phenomenon called excessive sweating from the scalp will not go away. But in Ayurveda, we have an oil available to control it. By applying that oil on the scalp, we can control it to some extent. Still, it won't completely go away, we can only control it. Because as long as your body temperature is not balanced, we won't be able to get rid of this. So, by using this oil, we can manage it. Now, if you ask whether there is a solution for this, definitely there is. If our medical science becomes advanced tomorrow and tells us we can balance your body temperature, we have found a surgery or a medicine for that and can do it for you, then if you do that, your problem will go away. Not just yours, but the allergies in this country itself will disappear. But medical science hasn't discovered that yet. We can hope that it will be found tomorrow. If it is discovered tomorrow and you undergo that treatment, then there will be relief from this allergy and it will come to an end. So until then, for the time being, the only solution is to keep applying oil and carry on. Normally, whichever allergy patient goes to the doctor, doctors will say you should not use oil. That is absolutely correct. There's no doubt about it. Because the specific oils that we are using are specially formulated to support hair growth or to effectively help your hair grow much faster. None of these are suitable for people with allergies. Because whichever oil you use, it brings a cooling effect to the head. And any oil that brings cooling is not suitable for people with allergies. That is why doctors say not to use oil. What we are talking about here is an oil specially made in Ayurveda for people with allergies. If you use this, you will not have any problems at all. There is absolutely no doubt that this oil will help people who have issues like allergy, migraine, or those who experience head sweating to control it. So we discussed two things. First, the nasal blockage, obstruction. We said that we can correct it by applying medicine and using saline. Once you do that, that's enough. It's permanent and you won't have that problem again. The second reason we mentioned was head sweating. This head sweating will not go away completely, but we can control it, as I mentioned. Now, the third point is the blood allergy that I mentioned at the beginning. It is said that the main reason for all of this is the high level of allergy in the blood. So that's what we need to correct. For that, we have medicine available. By taking that medicine, we need to control it and bring it back to balance. If you take it for 2 or 3 months, it will come under control. Only after the condition comes under control and after doing a blood test again to confirm that everything is normal, should we completely discontinue the medication. Once you stop the medicine like that, you will be able to lead a perfectly normal and healthy life just like any other person, without any sneezing or other health problems whatsoever. Definitely, without a doubt, if there is anyone struggling quite a lot or facing major difficulties due to this allergy, then this will surely be extremely beneficial and helpful for them. Let this become a wonderful opportunity for them to live in that perfectly healthy state, without any more sneezing, itchy eyes, or any other related health issues, and without any cold. I truly believe that each and every one of you has listened and understood this.